And here is the 6th red flag. Watch out for organizations that utilize rigid scripts, or what we call Script-nosis. This issue might not sound like a big deal, but after we discuss it, you will see how concerning it really is and that it has hurt a lot of people, clients and practitioners. So we're going to spend a fair amount of time detailing this red flag, and our focus will be on 4 areas: the consequences of Script-nosis, how these organizations have attempted and failed to remedy the shortcomings, why these organizations cling so tightly to these rigid scripts, and the successful remedy that SEH has created for you. Okay, so let's first talk about the consequences of Script-nosis. To begin, when other programs claim that they have one script that works every time, they are waving the biggest, brightest red flag possible that they are setting you up to have massive problems in your sessions and ultimately throughout your entire career. When they say they are guaranteeing the session's success as long as you use their script and deliver it perfectly, what they are really doing is guaranteeing your failure in a number of ways. This is because even though the script will work for some clients, it will not work for every client. A high-quality hypnosis session is never, ever paint by numbers. Each person is different, and their exact needs on the day of the session will be unique, and no singular script can ever prepare you for navigating the nuance of each session. And because this approach guarantees failure more often than not, it hurts the clients as well as the practitioners who genuinely want to help people and who would love to have a thriving business but can't because their session results are just too unreliable. To illustrate this, I'm going to share a story. Years ago, I had a client who confessed to me that she was really nervous about our session. So I asked her why, and she told me that 2 years prior, she'd had a session with a practitioner who was supposed to be a top-tier graduate of one of these big international Script-nosis programs. So, prior to that session, this client was really excited. She'd waited years, she'd saved up her money, she'd found who she thought was the best practitioner in what she thought was the best style of hypnosis. And as she's having this session, guess what? The script was not working for her. But the practitioner, even though she'd had years and years of experience and she'd graduated from the highest level of this well-known hypnosis program, she still did not know what to do when the script wasn't working. And instead of tapping into the client's experience and maximizing what was working for the client, the practitioner instead marched forward into the next line of the script that she believed to be fail-proof. So she would deliver the next scripted line and then wait silently for the client to comply with what the script was dictating she was supposed to be experiencing, but it just was not happening for this client. And she could feel the practitioner getting frustrated and impatient, so she started to make things up just to keep the practitioner happy. But then she remembered she'd get no real information or healing or upgrades via a fabricated experience. And so the client decided to be honest, and she remained quiet as she waited for the real experience to flow in. And instead of honoring that the client needed more time and space, the practitioner instead said out loud what the client had been feeling the entire time. She said to the client, and I quote, "We don't have all day." And the client went right back to making up the details of her session to be able to get it over with and to be able to go home. Can you imagine waiting years and saving up money and putting so many of your hopes and dreams on the line just for that to be your experience? And can you imagine doing that to a client who has trusted you to help them? I can't either. But these Script-nosis programs have convinced themselves that their script is infallible, and that if the practitioner is perfect in their presentation, that they are infallible. Which means when something unexpected happens, they don't realize it's an opportunity to help the client with having an amazing session that just happens to be off script. Instead, they make the error of blaming the client for being blocked. The client isn't blocked. It's the practitioner's inability to vary from the script that's the issue. Side note, what is extra frustrating about this is that it isn't even hard to facilitate flexible sessions, and it's actually really fun once you know how to do it, which is, of course, one of the first things we teach you in Soul Empowering Hypnosis certification training. Second side note, the client that I just told you the story about, she and I did end up having a really wonderful session. I promised her that we would more than make up for that failed Script-nosis session, and we did. Now, let's talk about the ways these organizations have attempted and failed to remedy these shortcomings. One strategy is that they have their students practice the script with a vocal coach. Yes, your tone and pacing and energy are very helpful, but it cannot save a session that's falling apart. Another remedy they've tried during the handful of years I've been paying attention is they've upped the number of required practice sessions, doubling and even tripling in some instances, that their students need to graduate from one tier of the program into the next. And while practicing sessions is good, of course, doing more of the same unhelpful techniques doesn't fix the issue of not knowing how to really facilitate a proper hypnosis session. Now, you might be asking yourself why these organizations cling so tightly to these rigid scripts if they fail so much. The answer, to me, is actually pretty sad, and my heart goes out to the people who I do believe are trying their best, but their best isn't getting it done. The answer is that in the vast majority of these cases, the founder of the method has passed, and their successors don't have the same skill set that it takes to fix the issue. So they just keep telling others, and I believe they keep telling themselves, that their method is perfect, and it's the practitioner that needs to improve when the onus really needs to be on the program itself. Okay, so moving on to the remedy. At SEH, we actually love scripts and provide you with a foundational script that works like a charm, as well as deepener and segue scripts that help the session along when needed, and scripts for really incredible techniques that initiate healing, exploring, and enhancing just about anything. So we are in no way anti-script. Instead, what we are is pro-flexibility, pro-customization, pro-creativity, and pro-client and pro-practitioner. And what you learn in SEH sets you up for success because you will know how to maximize what is organically happening or not happening in the client's session, as well as how to utilize every opportunity, including when the client says they are experiencing nothing. And honestly, when you are facilitating an SEH session, even that moment, the nothing moment that every new practitioner dreads, becomes a fun opening to the next phase of exploration in the client's session. Side note, and this will resonate with those of you who've been practitioners for a while, SEH sessions are never boring. That's another perk of facilitating customizable sessions. You never have to do the same thing over and over again. You get to genuinely enjoy the experience of guiding clients through their journey that is unique to them, and you will get exposed to so much more than traditional past lives or spirit guide communication or spirit realm explorations. You never really know what incredible experience you'll get to witness next. And it is a true delight to come to work every day. Plus, your clients will be dazzled by their SEH sessions because they get to experience so much more than they were expecting. Remember, it's soul empowering hypnosis. So at SEH, we invite the soul to take the lead in the sessions, and it delivers. And great news,